Are we on?
We're on.
Are we on? Okay. Thank you so much for checking in. I am back with another podcast. I guess we called this series Quarantine Chronicles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we're going to change the name as soon as the quarantine is over. But let's see. I'm joined by Morgan again and by our friend
Howdy.
Jess.
Hi.
Jess, she is an intern at Revive Stronger. Steve will also be here soon, Pascal as well. But I thought like it would be cool to start with Jess because Jess has a lot of experience with female clients. She prepped as well last year, and she started to coach. So I guess we'll have a great conversation about your training right now, especially during quarantine. I see your training also in your crazy backyard back in France. In your
Yeah.
story, it's kind of inspiring as well.
I'm very lucky because I have a lot of equipment, and my backyard is actually pretty nice. And it's been sunny, like it's crazy because usually at this time of the year, it's never that sunny. And it's been 25 degrees Celsius every day, and it's been like so good.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Same
right.
here in the UK. The weather couldn't have come at a better time, really.
True.
It's kind of funny, like you see all those memes like saying like the rest of the year in the UK is just shit. And now that you guys are all quarantined, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Typical.
So I actually wanted to start with some either-or questions because I saw that on other podcasts. I find it quite funny. So easy one: coffee or tea?
Tea. I don't drink coffee. I don't like coffee. I hate coffee. I hate coffee. Yeah, I hate coffee. I love tiramisu though, so that's an odd one because I love tiramisu, like the cake, the Italian cake.
Oh yeah.
And it's coffee based, which is weird. But I hate plain coffee, and I've tried it so many ways. Like I've tried it with cream, whipped cream, a lot of sugar in it. There's nothing like no. I just hate it.
Damn. I saw Mike Tyson on Joe Rogan's podcast also. He never had a coffee in his life. I was like, dude,
you're missing out, man.
It's not possible.
Everybody's been telling me that, but it's funny because I've tried really good coffee. What's supposed to be really good coffee, but I can't really judge it because I don't like coffee. But apparently it was really good coffee, and I'm like, yeah, to me it tastes all the same.
Yeah, it's kind of true. If you're not used to it, it tastes the same.
Yeah.
So the next one: no more toilet paper or no more toothbrush or toothbrush, basically.
What?
No more toilet paper or no more toothbrush for the rest of your life. The rest of your life.
The rest of your life, God.
Oh.
No more toilet paper, no more toothbrush.
Okay. I would say toothbrush just because my teeth are so important for me. Like I need to brush my teeth like fucking 5 times a day. I'm a maniac with that. So really toothbrush.
I mean, if you had two toothbrushes, you could use one, in place of toilet roll. So I choose toothbrush.
Yeah.
Just pick up two.
That's smart. Okay.
See?
The next one is difficult actually. No more leg day or no more upper body day.
I want to say upper body.
No more upper body.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, it's a difficult one, but I think I could never go without a leg day ever again.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't. There's no RDL substitute for the upper body, is there?
Right?
Yeah, there's nothing. Nothing replaces that.
That's kind of true. Yeah, I need to know. The next one is also difficult. Unlimited calories without getting fat or 1 million euros?
Calories. Sorry to butt in, but straight away.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, it's a difficult one for
easy,
me.
Man. Easy stuff, that is. Easy.
Yeah, that's easy.
You're true athletes, man. True body. What's good? Oh, this one is good. No more sex or no more gym?
Bro. I'm a bro, okay? So no more sex. I will go my whole life without sex. I need to train.
God.
It's funny because it's a weird one. But it's probably the most difficult one you've asked so far. But if you think it that way, you are responsible for how you train, and if it's good or not, that's usually up to you. Sex usually it can go either way. Like it can be really good or it can be really bad. I think there's more consistency with training, so I would say no more sex, just so I can train.
There's more consistency. Okay, I agree. Yeah, I agree. That's a good one. Wait, the last one. I had to think about that as well. Brad Pitt or Chris Hemsworth?
Like, as in what? Like physically or in general?
In general.
Chris, all the way.
Really? Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What about in terms of acting prowess?
Of acting what?
In terms of their acting capability.
Like, let's say, which one would you spend your time with? You can do whatever you want. You can like train with whatever you know.
I think Chris would be fun. He looks like a really fun dude. Like, yeah, I would probably say Chris. But if it's just down to acting, probably Brad Pitt. But if it's down to anything else, probably Chris.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I guess we have a good perspective on your personality then. This was good. Awesome. So, what I want to go into in this podcast actually is your prep. Like, was your first prep, right?
Yeah, it was my first prep. Yeah.
It was interesting thing is we had a conversation on Instagram. Like, everything looked so easy on Instagram. Like, you were like making your meals, like here, do this, do that. But then we talked, and you said you were at 1,100 calories at the end, right?
Yeah, I was on 1,100 calories what
the fuck?
8 weeks. I think the last 8 weeks I was on 1,100 calories, and at that point, my last diet break was maybe another 8 weeks before that. So I went 16 weeks without a diet break, and the last 8 weeks at 1,100 calories. Yeah.
How much cardio were you doing on top of that?
I was doing. It was like the equivalent of 40 minutes a day.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So, okay. And 11,000 steps on top of cardio.
Damn. No refeeds, right?
No, nothing. The only, I wasn't very low carb. The only carbs that I actually got at that point were during my first peak week. That's pretty much it. The rest of the time was just to be honest, and I'll say that because most people think why it's so hardcore, it's so low. It was not the worst. It was not the worst thing. The worst thing was probably the low energy. That was really horrendous.
Yeah, you quickly acclimatize, don't you, to how much you're taking in. And when you've got that date circled on the calendar, it's just another day, and you're going to get there eventually. And for whatever reason, that it becomes so subconscious, that ticking of the calorie intake every day. But like you say, it's that sitting around and feeling like you're about to fall to bits, which gets a bit too unbearable. I'd say the calories, like you say, very easy to adapt to. It's just how it manifests in the body.
So is your metabolism actually adaptive, really adaptive to your? How many calories did you eat in your about 3,000 almost? I guess you told me 2,800, right?
This time around, or
when you were 68 kilos at your peak, how much weight?
I was massing on nearly 3,000 calories for a while. I was on 28 to 2,900 the last month of massing phase.
It's impressive.
I have a very adaptive metabolism. Very adaptive.
Same as me at the same weight, actually. It's quite impressive for a woman.
Yeah. It was a big drop. In the span of 6 months, I went from 28 to 1,100.
Just 6 month prep.
32 weeks. 32 weeks exactly.
And how many diet breaks do you take?
3 at the beginning. Because the way Steve programmed my prep on paper was supposed to be perfect. I was supposed to have a whole maintenance phase. It was just supposed to be exactly like he's this year, having a diet before the diet, then take a maintenance phase and just dig all the way to the shows. But because my body adapted, we lost a lot of time plateauing I would say in the middle of prep. So we couldn't take the maintenance phase. So I had to dig all the way to the shows. And that was probably why it was so hard too. Just because I didn't have a proper break.
Yeah. So going off this prep you've done, how have you made changes to your plan going forward? I know you were about to start a prep. Was it a couple of weeks ago? That obviously is not happening. But on paper now, have you kind of accounted for the hiccups you came across along the way?
Yeah, well, the difference would have been that I started last prep at 69 kilos, and I would have started this prep at 63. So that's already half of the weight from last year. That would have been off to begin with, meaning that I would have needed maybe 20 weeks instead of 32 to get stage lean and actually get like shredded. Because even when I stepped on stage last year, I wasn't like properly shredded, like as I meant to be at that point. But yeah, I think this prep, the goal was just to dig all the way to the show, like maybe a diet break if we could take one. But because I've been massing and maintaining now for 6 months, yeah, the goal was just to diet down all the way to the show and reverse into the show actually. So yeah, that was pretty much the plan. Just easy, like regular prep, like a lot of like regular female prep, I would say, not for a male, but yeah, just like 16 to 20 weeks, dig in.
I'm curious, you said shredded. What does it mean to be shredded if you are like a bikini competitor? You bikini or figure? Bikini, right?
Bikini. Yeah, I have no quads, bro. No quads. I wish I could do figure. Like that's my end goal. Is to be able to do like a category up from bikini. But I need legs. I need more legs. My upper body would probably be fine in a natural federation, which I am going to compete in anyway. But my lower body, like my legs are so fucking long. It's so hard to put mass on my quads because you guys know. It's so like, they're just so fucking like, I don't know why. It's so annoying. But
yeah. It's just like your legs get longer. They don't get wider, do they? It just feels
right?
like they get longer. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm getting taller for sure, but my legs aren't growing.
I know. That's exactly what I feel. What was I saying? What was your question? Oh, shredded. Yes.
For guys, like shredded glutes, but what is it for women? What do you look for?
You want to have like a glute hamstring tie-in that's really noticeable. So you want like separation between your glutes and your hamstring. You want to have, in my opinion, that's my opinion. But especially in the IFBB, because most girls are enhanced, you want to have like somewhat capped delts, not crazy, like not feathered delts, but you need some capping, I would say. But in my personal preference, next time I step on stage, I really want to be shredded. Like I want to be as lean as I can get, even if it doesn't really fit the judges' criteria. That's just from my own like preference. I want to go down to like a really low body fat, like as low as I can, just to see what I look like. And I think it's just a personal challenge and experience. Like I want like ab veins and I want all that shit that I didn't get last year. I want it next year.
Yeah. So you say, I'm curious, like, especially for guys, you like look at the shredded glutes and, but with women, what's like, you said the hamstrings need to be free, or what's like the last spot you should lose fat as a woman?
Yeah, that's exactly there. Like under your ass. Like that's literally just like the connection between your hamstring and your glutes. That's usually because you're female and that's where you carry your body fat naturally. That's where you want to lean out the most. And you know that if you have that glute ham tie-in, you're probably as lean as you could get as a female.
But 15%? What's the percentage? Like essential percentage? 12% for women?
Maybe between 10 and 12. I'd say for a female between 10 and 12 would be like the lowest you can go. Lower than that, and you're either really enhanced, like dangerously enhanced, or you're just very, very blessed genetically. But yes, between 10 and 12.
Okay. And I'm curious because maybe some women are also watching. I heard like guys lose the libido and also women lose their menstruation. Is it true for everyone?
You can lose your menstrual cycle. I would say the leaner you get, the most the more chances you're gonna, I don't know how I'm gonna formulate that, but the leaner you get, you get more chances to actually lose your period. I didn't lose mine, but again, I think that's because I wasn't lean enough to lose it. I mean, I lost my period, but not due to that. There was like a whole other hormonal problem with my birth control pill. But yeah, I had my period all the way to the show. Like I actually got my period the morning of the qualifier. So yeah, my body was just functioning perfectly fine.
That's impressive. If that many calories though.
Yeah, that I think, like I talked about that with Eric Helms and he called us cockroaches. Like he's like, even if the end of the world is coming, we will be the one fucking dominating just because
good genetics.
We can survive on nothing. Like my body would still procreate babies on fuck all calories. It's like, oh, you're fucking dying. Like, let's have a baby. Like, oh yeah, sure, it works. Like, it makes no fucking sense. But yeah.
Crazy genetics, actually.
Yeah, on that regard, yeah. But it sucks because it means that it's harder for me to get that last bit of fat off, just because my body's just hanging onto it so hard. Like it doesn't want to come off.
Yeah.
Was competing something you considered before you started working with Steve?
Yeah, I actually contacted Steve 2 years ago because I wanted to compete, and he asked me at the time, "Why do you want to compete?" And I'm like, I don't know. It looks like a fun thing to do. And he's like,
a fun thing.
Yeah, I had no idea. And he told me that is not the reason why you should compete. So he told me, let's do a proper cutting phase. And at that point, I was dieting for a really long time, and my body was just like adapted. So he said, okay, let's reverse. Let's do a proper massing phase. And once you find the why you want to compete, we'll go back to that. Which was a really good call. Like I know a lot of people like love Steve for the content that he put out, but he's an excellent coach. Like he's a really great coach.
He is. I told Steve I have two man crushes in my life: Joe Rogan and Steve Hall. That's it.
I know, and he hates it because he's so humble. Like he was he's
getting red.
Which is even more funny because you want to do it because you know he's gonna get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I will do it on the podcast next time for sure, like in the introduction. Yeah.
Oh, you need to make him so uncomfortable. Like he's gonna start blushing and just looking away. It's hilarious.
Yeah. But
He's
I also
great.
love the guy. Yeah. He has a good heart.
Yeah.
He's a bodybuilding nerd with a very good heart, I would say. Yeah. In a good way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but impressive you didn't lose your period, like, because just from my personal experience, I had my first prep when I was 15 years old. I guess I told Morgan I was diagnosed with anorexia, unfortunately, and I weighed like 41 kilos at 5'7". I also ate like 800 calories, but my libido was dead. I had like almost like keto breath because my body was kind of, I guess, metabolizing all the protein, like gluconeogenesis. I had like breath and shit, like it was kind of weird, but 1,100 is almost like on that level, That's the reason why I'm like, that's pretty impressive to prep like 8 weeks. That's it's pretty hardcore.
But
sure.
Again, I don't think you need. Well, first off, I would say when you start prepping, you need to expect to go lower than you would ever imagine going to. Like I was like, okay, I'm massing on 2,800. Surely I'm not gonna go under 1,500 calories on prep. Like we started prep on 1,800, and as the weeks go, like my body's plateauing, and it's like, okay, 1,600, 1,400, 1,300, and it's like, oh, we're plateauing again. And Steve was like, I don't want to take your calories away, but I'm gonna have to if you want to get lean. So it just happens, and it's a talk that I had backstage with most bikini competitors who competed with me in the IFBB in Australia, and all of them were on fuck all calories. Like it wasn't uncommon to hear someone being on like 1,000 calories because I'm pretty tall and I'm pretty heavy for females, like bikini competitor at least. Most females that are like maybe 5'2", 5'3", and weigh like 110 pounds stage weight, they will have to go under 1,000 calories sometimes. And it's not something you want to do or you advise to do, but that's just how it is if you want to be competitive at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How long, if you were to store, how long would you ride it out before you make changes?
So that's a discussion we had with Steve afterwards. We reflected a lot on what happened during prep and when my body, we can collect the data for next prep. And we know with my body, if it stalls more than 2 weeks, we need to dig like straight away. Most people like you're expecting that like whoosh effect to happen. And for most people, it will. Like you can plateau for 2 weeks, and the third week, you're just going to have like a huge drop. Now that we have experience with my body, we know that it doesn't happen that way. So we know that if I plateau for 2 weeks, the third week, like calories are going down, or like we increase cardio, or just a combination of both, but we have to do something. And I would say especially if you don't have that much time to prep, I would say the best you can do is do this as soon as you can. And if you end up being like stage ready 2 weeks in advance, that's nothing. Like, yeah, that's perfect. You can reverse into your show, which is amazing. You can practice speaking. Like, there's so many ways you can do that. If you're late and you only have one date, which I had in Australia, like it was only one qualifier and that was it. If you're late for that, then that's it. That was your only chance. And if you fucked it up, then, well, yeah, that's your only chance.
Yeah, I bet the prospect of another prep, knowing everything you've already done in the prior one, is quite exciting. Actually, it's something I'm quite looking forward to. Just having the data in your back pocket for when it does come time to, you're going to do it so much better. And I imagine that's going to be the same every single time you start prepping. You've got that reassurance that you know where you slipped up last time, and it's almost like this pre-prep excitement that you probably didn't get on the first time you did it. Because
that's what I had.
It's better.
Exactly. Yeah. I was eager to prep this year because I'm like, it's going to go so well. Like everything's planned. It's going to be perfect. We're all going to be competing at the same time. And well, shit happens, like it's not a big deal. Like we're just doing it next year, which all buys us more time to math, which is great. But yeah, I had this like excitement. I couldn't control it. And I told Steve on my last check-in, like, I'm like, maybe I'm a fucking like masochist, but I am eager to start like prep.
That's a great place to be. I think you've got to be in that place before you start a prep again. I know I speak to lots of people who just bounce from show to show every year, without any time in between. And I can't imagine how much impact that has on you mentally, just to kind of be in this constant state of deficit, about to fall apart, no time spent in between to kind of get better.
Yeah.
It's as important as the diet itself.
And that's what I posted yesterday about that. Like most people start prep or a cutting phase for the wrong reasons, just because you're not happy. Because usually, and that's a vicious circle. Post show, you gain weight, so you feel bad about yourself, so you go on like cutting 3 months after you stepped on stage, which is completely ridiculous because you're not even recovered yet. And most people do that because they have bad like body image, or they just have issues gaining weight. And she's like, it's a lot of work, but it's mental work mostly. You have to just accept that, and most people just can't accept that, and that's why they go on like prepping year after year, even season after season. There are people who prep for season A and season B every fucking year for years, and I'm like, where do you get the rest? And they never place because they can't grow because they don't have enough muscle mass, which is crazy. And I'm like, why do you keep doing that? It makes no sense.
Sure.
How much time did you need to recover then after the show, like hormonally?
I would say, in all honesty, I probably recovered about a month ago, like fully recovered, which would have been enough for me to start prepping again. But because we handled post-show, like we had a plan and we followed it to the T. It was well done. For most people, I'd say about 6 months. 6 months post-show, you start feeling like yourself again, like completely. I'd say before that, if you do feel ready to prep before that, it's just mental. Like it's in your head. You're not ready to prep at all.
How did you handle the post-show plan with the gaining weight and the kind of the relationship with your body?
I got lucky, to be honest. My body looks better 3 weeks post-show because I had dropped all the stress. I think stress plays a huge role on a lot of people. It's not just me, but on a lot of people, but especially on my body, I found it to like create a lot of water retention. I stepped on stage at 57 kilos, and 3 weeks after that, I went on vacation in Sydney, and I was weighing 58 kilos. So in 3 weeks post-show, I only gained 1 kilo, and I looked so much better because of water retention. Like water had dropped, my muscles were looking full. I had just de-stressed completely. My sleep was amazing. I think the fact that I looked better post-show made it easier for me to maintain that. We recovered. We did like a recovery phase post-show, meaning that my calories were back to about maintenance. So 1,800, we estimated back then. And I had a lot of volume in the gym, just a lot of volume to counterbalance the lack of, just the lack of like cardio and activity that I could do. It went amazing. It was like, I was so anxious about post-show because you see most people blow out and just ruin literally months of prep in like one week sometimes. And I didn't want that to happen. So I told Steve, I need a plan. I need you to tell me what we're going to do, and I'm just going to stick to that. And I stuck to it, and it went great. So we know my body can handle a lot of food post-show, and that's a good thing. But again, it kind of makes sense because my body's really adaptive. It works both ways. Post-show was great. Probably the best time I've had last year.
I think it'd be foolish to not carry on that diligence and discipline you've taken yourself through that prep post-show to let it all go like that. I mean, I can't imagine it, the kind of mental pressure that I'd put on yourself.
I think you have to consider post-show a part of prep still. Like you're like, the show is over, but don't let it fucking go because it will ruin you. Even mentally, like if you gain fat within 2 weeks, you're gonna feel so bad about yourself. And that's what most people do, unfortunately. Like they just gain so much fat because like let's face it, what you gain post-show is maybe you recover a bit of muscle that you lost in the end of prep, but that's minimal. Most of what you're going to gain is just fat. And even if you don't gain weight, you're just at some point going to look softer, maybe a month post-show, because it won't be because you're putting fat on. It's just because your muscle, like the fat is just going to come from the muscle. Like it sucks. I think Mike at Israel in the seminar in 2018 just explained that perfectly. It's like you're not going to feel like you're gaining a lot of weight because the scale is not moving, but you're still going to put on fat because your body's so under recovered, it has to put on more fat, and because you're not like feeding it properly, it's just going to take the fat where it can. It just sucks.
Yeah. So I'm curious, just a question that popped into my mind. What led you into bodybuilding actually? What made you so to bodybuilding in the first place?
I started like cardio, like all this like bullshit, like classes. Not bullshit. It's not bullshit. If it gets you moving, it's great.
Just call it bullshit, it's okay.
It's better than nothing. But I started like doing cardio classes and things like that. I was 22, 23, something like that. I think I needed the change in my life. I was partying a lot. I was drinking a lot. I was just like shit-faced every weekend with my friends. And I needed that change to just evolve, I guess. I just craved like the change. And then I met my ex who was working out very, very diligently. So I just made the move to training, like resistance training. My ex kind of introduced me to that. And then I started researching because fortunately for me, I research thoroughly everything that I do. And he was a typical bro, like chest day on Monday, going to failure on every set. So that's how I learned. Like I did the typical bro thing for like a year and a half before actually getting like to work with Steve. It was just like I did a lot of research and I came across Revive, 3DMJ, RP, and that's how I got into like periodizing my training. And then I hired Steve, which was probably the best investment I've made in my life.
Yeah.
I can attest to that.
Sorry, Morgan. When did you hire him?
Go on.
Sorry. When did you hire Steve? 2017?
May 2018. So it's going to be 2 years next month.
Good. Okay. Yeah, Morgan.
I was going to say I can attest to that, hiring a coach. I think I started working with Pascal in 2018, probably a similar time to you, Jess. And it's just taking my training up here, just going, whoosh. And it's like, had I known all this stuff when I first started training, Christ, where would I be now? Where would I be? Scary to think how much it helps hiring a coach. For years and years and years, you just wade through all the bullshit online, and none of it makes sense. And then suddenly oh right, this is how it works.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Yeah, it is actually that simple.
It is. You just don't know it.
No.
Yeah.
Once you, I feel like once you know it, it's just like a whole new world. Like you get to the gym and you're like, how was I like that? How was I training to failure every workout? How was I just doing? Do you know that chest day where you just go in there and you do like decline, incline, flat bench, barbell, dumbbell, flies, like you're like, why? Why was I doing that?
Yeah. Because you woke up the next morning and you couldn't move, and that works, right? That's how you grow. Can't move my chest.
I feel like even if you have the right knowledge, it's still difficult because you have so many tools at hand, but you don't know when to try it out. Like, should I mini cut now? Should I mini cut later? And what Steve helped me with the most is just with every check-in, he told me, oh, dude, you're not fat at all. Just eat more. Every time you're not fat. And sometimes I sent him a check-in. I'm like, dude, there's no way he's going to tell me to eat more. He's like, you look good, mate. You're still very lean. He said, very lean. And I was like, what, very lean? Dude, I'm fat, So it was really like good to change my body dysmorphia a bit.
Yeah, it's hard to be objective on yourself, I think. The only external eye that I had at that time was my partner at the time, and he was just like, you look fantastic, you started lifting, like you look amazing. But I was skinny fat. I did not look great, but in his eyes I looked amazing. So I was just taking his compliment, I'm like, okay, well, he says I look great, so surely I do, and I know what I'm doing because I'm training to failure. So surely if I'm wrecked the day after, my muscles must be growing. And then when Steve started to teach me reps in reserve and deloads, and I was like, what do you mean there's going to be a day, a week in the month where I don't train that hard? And he was like, yeah, you need to recover.
Are you mad? Are you mad for deloads? What on earth is
I was
that?
like, 2 sets of each. I'm going to be in and out of the gym in 30 minutes. Yeah, that's the plan. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Why?
Yeah, totally.
It doesn't make any sense when you first try it.
I
Totally.
know. And now, you can go, I cannot go more than 4 to 5 weeks without a deload. After 5 weeks, I'm wrecked. I need the deload. And I'm like, how did I used to go fucking months on end without taking any time off of the gym or the volume? It was crazy.
Yeah. I had literally the same thought this week. This week is my deload. I wanted to go for a 6th week, but I was like, dude, I'm so wrecked. There's no way I'm going to do a 6th week. How did I do that back in the days? I was like, I was always so wrecked and tired all the time when I was younger. And now I know I was so tired and I was so wrecked all the time.
Well, that and also lack of form and good technique. I look at my squats back then and I'm like, what is that? It's not even a squat. It's like a deadlift with the bar on my back, and I'm like, it's disgusting.
True.
It's so bad.
True.
Yeah, it's certainly a second wind hiring a coach. I think anyone who's considering it, for some people it might be a pricey investment, but it's an investment you're never gonna regret.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
For sure.
And it's not even a plug because we're all coaches. It's just even before I was a coach, I would advise anyone to just get a coach and get into periodization. And I told my ex at the time, he was so mad of the connection and the knowledge that I was getting from Steve. And I was trying to explain to him some things. And he was like, I've been training for years. I don't need you to tell me how to do that. And I'm like, the thing is, I'm growing faster than you. So you should probably be worried or acknowledging that I am actually probably doing something right, And I think it's night and day between having a coach and not having one, even if it's just for 6 months and getting to know the foundations and because once you know the principles, you can sort it out yourself pretty easily. If you never learn them, then you're just gonna you're just gonna go about the same way for ages and you're never gonna progress.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yes. Yeah, for me as well. I had Steve for 10 months, and just to see how he applied, because I was looking at his podcast, I was listening to his podcast, and just the thought that the host of my favorite podcast is finally coaching me. So if he tells me to do this or to do that in this moment, it must be right, it must be true, must be correct. So just the security I gained, and with Because right now I approach my whole my training with 100% certainty. I know this works because of that, and I'm not looking at like some marketing scams on the internet, some magic pill. It's just like, this is my way of training, and I do this, and it kind of affects the people around you as well. Like, why is this guy so certain when he talks about calories and macros? Why is this guy so, it's kind of interesting how it works.
I feel like as a female at the time, it was even harder. I was training in LA, and the environment was very masculine. There weren't a lot of females, like in the training, like in the weight section at least. And it was just hard, to have to explain to everyone what I was doing, what were reps in reserve and not going to failure. And they were like, surely you can't grow if you don't go to failure, or like, surely you can't take dealers week. Like, what do you train when you do dealers? And I'm like, I train the same. I just cut my volume in half pretty much. And they're like, yeah, but you're losing gains that week. And I'm like, no, I'm not losing gains. I'm just I'm just managing my fatigue and just creating more momentum to keep going after. And yeah, I think when you're female, it's harder to get your point across, especially to masculine audience. They don't want to hear it. And I had the experience firsthand with my ex, because he was like, like he wouldn't say it, but you could tell that because I was a girl, he couldn't take like an advice from me. He couldn't take anything that I was saying seriously. I think it's not just to like say it because like it's not about being feminist, because I hate like feminism in general, but it's just the truth. Like when you're female, like it's harder to get your point across in bodybuilding.
It is such a personal investment. I find that if you are trying to speak to someone who has invested a lot of time in training and perhaps isn't the most clued up, it almost becomes a personal attack. What do you mean what I've been doing is wrong for all these years? Well, I'm not saying it's wrong. Just, have you considered perhaps this way? No, absolutely not. And I find that a lot, unfortunately. A very enclosed mindset when it comes to trying to pass this information on.
Yeah,
which is such a shame.
Yeah. Like my saying is, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So when I meet like guy friends, I don't really tell them right off the bat about our reps in reserve, like revive stronger. But I just like slowly, when I see they're getting interested, I tell them like a bit here, a bit there, and then when they apply, you can tell them more. But it's definitely a big ego thing, man. Like, especially if you're like also like a smaller guy. Like, I'm also not the biggest, especially training clothes. I don't go to a bigger guy and tell him, hey, do this, do that. When the guy weighs like 13 pounds more than me, I'm like, do your thing, bro,
But it does come down to ego at some point. Like some people just don't want to let go of what they think they know and move forward and educate themselves just because that's what they've been doing for years. And I'm like, sure, it works. You're creating some stimulus, so it's going to work. You're going to grow muscle, but the amount of muscle you're growing the way you do it and the amount of muscle you could be growing if you were actually periodizing and managing your fatigue properly and training more like a smarter way, it would be a huge difference.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's funny. The first time I had to do like a set with 4 reps in reserve, I was totally weirded out. I was like, there's no way I'm going to grow from that.
It doesn't feel right, man. It doesn't feel right.
My first week of the new mesocycle is on Saturday. I'm still like, I could do like 2 reps in reserve, I don't need to do 4.
I struggle to convince myself to start at 3 sometimes. It's week 1 on paper. Look, it says 3 reps in reserve, Morg. For goodness sake, just do it. But I could probably do 2. It's the conversation you have every time you start a new training cycle, at least for me anyway.
Yeah. But it's still hard to gauge, especially for me still. Like, it's still hard to know if I'm at 4 or 5 or 3. Still.
I think most of the time, when I started working with reps in reserve, I would stay closer to failure than further. Now I do the opposite. I'm like, maybe I have 5, but I'd rather have 5 than 4, or like 5 than 3. I feel like I can go longer that way, and you're still accumulating volume anyway. It's not like 1 rep that's going to change a whole lot of things, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. I'm curious, are you also coaching guys at the moment?
Yeah, my first client was a guy, and he actually, last time I was on the podcast with Steven Pascal in the Improvement Season podcast, and I was talking about like being a female and coaching males, and funny enough, the first 5, I think, applications that I had for my coaching were all from guys. It was just like, maybe there was like one girl. The rest of them was just guys. Were just guys. Yeah. And then he texted me after listening to the podcast, and he's like, Jess, I would never like, you know, like disregard any of what you're saying just because you're a girl. And it never bothered me at all. And I felt great after. I was like, well, that's dope. Like, and I even coach guys who are like fairly jacked, you know, like who like they know their shit. Like they know bodybuilding. They've been bodybuilding for years. But they still do trust my advice. And it feels fantastic. It's like, it's a massive boost, like, of confidence. Like, I don't rely too much on that, but I know it's there. Like, I know they place their training in my hands. And yeah, I think it's like a good confidence boost.
It's very empowering. Yeah.
Right? You're trying to give a kid away, your baby, like, take it.
Yeah.
Do you coach females now?
I have females too, yeah.
Yeah. So when setting up then a male or a female client, are there certain things you take into consideration before you create a program, before you implement certain strategies? Is there a different approach you take, or do you kind of just gauge it as you build a relationship with said client?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I gauge it throughout the relationship that I build. I apply the same principles at first. Like if they come to me and they're like, I want to train 6 days a week, I just ask them, like, do you want to do like an upper lower? Do you want to do a push pull leg? Like, what's your preference? Do you have areas of your body that you want to grow more than others? Most females are going to say, I want to lose like my midsection fat and I want to grow like a huge ass. And I'm like, okay, that's like typical. And I'm like, okay, so we're just going to do like probably like an upper lower split. So you have three lower body during the week. Most guys are like, I want to have chest, I want to have like more, you know, like more back width, I want to look more manly. And I'm like, okay, well, we're going to do push pull legs, so you have more upper body frequency. But yeah, besides I just take into consideration their personal preferences and what area they want to grow in priority. When they come to me and they just want to lose weight, get a better relationship with food, then it's just a lot of like psychological work and guiding them and educating them. I think education like is the foundation of what I do. I feel like I'm still like a baby. I'm still a baby in this. Like it's just like my first year coaching people. But I do take a lot of joy out of educating people. And like when people leave my services as a coach, I want them to be empowered. I want them to feel comfortable going about their life comfortably, being like, okay, I know that I need that amount of protein because otherwise I'm not going to grow muscle or keep my muscle as efficiently. Or it's just about learning even basic things. I think you can always, and I learn from them. I learn from them a lot as a coach, as a person, because they're my first clients. They're like my babies, you know. It's like the first experience that I have with people.
You never forget the first ones, right? You never forget the first clients.
Yeah, and I've coached people before for free, but it's never the same because this is my job now. Like they pay me to do that. It's very rewarding to be able to educate them, and they trust me with that. So you have to take into consideration like they're coming to you to look for knowledge, but they also want to work with you into bettering themselves.
Absolutely.
You have to give them the knowledge.
You find when you have conversations with people that realize you're coaching, the first impression is, oh my god, I bet you make loads. And it's like, yeah, but you I think with your first client, you soon realize it's all about passing on that information. It's such that feeling of helping someone develop and having the capacity to take this forward should you stop services with them. It's so rewarding.
Yeah.
And it goes way beyond any financial incentive, I find.
Oh, definitely. Like the recognition, and not the recognition, the reward, like mental reward that I get from coaching people, and like when they get back to me and they're like, Jess, that happened this week and I managed it and I'm so proud, and I'm like, this is fucking amazing. Like, this is worth like all the money in the world. Like, when they feel empowered because you educated them to something like that. That's incredible feeling. And I've never known that before. Like my first client, Ian, like he texted me something really amazing a few weeks after starting working with me. He's like, I've been spinning my wheels for ages. I didn't know what direction to take. And we started doing like a mini cut, and now we're massing and he's comfortable in his body. And I'm like, this is so much more rewarding than any money. Like, sure, you're going to make a living out of this, so you need the money because you need to live. But this is not like the primary, like the primary reason I'm doing that. And most people like mistake the fact that I travel a lot for like, the fact that you make a lot of money coaching. And I'm like, I'm an intern. I have 5 clients right now. I do not make my living out of that just only. I have money saved. When I travel, I always find the cheapest like opportunities to actually stay somewhere, or like it's just a lot of tricks that I learned through the years. But I do not make a living for now as a coach. Like, it doesn't allow me to fucking travel to Australia and stay there for a year, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's very hard to turn this into a full-time career. You find that business picks up, it can be very, very slow at times. So again, just to harken back to how rewarding it is, it's much more than just the finance. Again, with my clients at the moment, it's like I feel like every other day she's texting me her results. I'm like, you're gonna have to slow this stuff down. I can't handle it. I can't handle this much, positivity.
It's too much love.
It is, yeah. Write it down in a note and show me later. I can't take it. It's too much.
Yeah. I feel like the sport gave me so much. I also want to give something back,
Yeah.
I agree with that. And I think anyone who does that just because of money should not be doing that. It's much more rewarding, and you have to have external reasons to do that than just money, because the first years are going to be hard. I say this, but I am very lucky and fortunate and fucking grateful for Steve and Pascal, because I get my clients through Revive, meaning that I have the easy way, the easiest possible way. I'm very lucky. Most people, like, if I had to start by like on my own, which I meant to be before Steve actually offered me the internship, I would have been struggling as well, like so hard.
Perhaps a little bit easier if you're kind of an established personal trainer. I imagine it's going to be a little easier. But if you're trying to get this off the ground, working from home, Christ, it's going to take a long time. I mean, I've been doing it for maybe a year or so now, and I've had maybe like 4 in total, 2 of which I've got right now, and it's like, bloody hell, you've really got to invest a lot of time in this, a lot of time if you want to make it pay off.
Yeah. Funny enough, one of my first clients I got through a Facebook ad.
Oh, really?
This was fun. Yeah. I have a business mentor. Gave me like a sales script, like a 10-minute long video. It was kind of interesting. Yeah. But I got a lot of hate because a lot of people saw the ad. It was a little bit salesy, so it was an interesting experience. Yeah. But yeah, I guess if you don't have like a platform like Revive, you need to be really good at sales and marketing. It's like a half of a sales and marketing job then. Texting people, get them on calls and stuff.
And results.
You have to, exactly. That's
the
what
results
I was
are big.
say.
And again, if with your first few clients, it may potentially take a while to get results. Yep. So you're going to be sitting on this payoff that you eventually hope will land, and even then it might not. Again, personal experience. I had a client. I introducing him to kind of fatigue management and all these different strategies we use all the time, and it was like this, kind of penny drop moment for him, and he just went into the gym with all guns blazing, dropped loads of weight, in a really good place to start massing. Then I thought, this is the moment. I'm going to put him out on Instagram now, social media. I'm going to show the world. And I asked him, I was like, what do you reckon, mate? Can I put you out there? He's like, oh, I don't really feel comfortable. Oh, dude, please. Yeah, it really does suck. But no, he's a lovely guy. Bless him.
What you can do, what I started doing with my clients is do a call like this with your client and just ask them how the coaching was, and then you can edit out the best moments of their success, of like what they're saying, and you put them on the website or on Instagram.
Testimonial of kind, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of. I can send you I have like a script that I got. You can send it to you.
Interesting. Okay, I'll take a look.
You ask them like, what was the biggest insight you had, or where did your expectations exceeded? Really good questions. Like, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
but I know that.
Yeah.
Gary 24/7 hustle is real.
Oh yeah. I think the people that perhaps do it for the wrong reasons, it shows as well. If you're in this solely for the monetary gain, that's always going to overshadow any kind of passion or kind of pleasure you feel from helping people develop.
Yeah.
Exactly. At some point, you're gonna get a slap in your face, being like, "Oh, you're gonna get frustrated because the client's not losing weight, and you can't put their before and after on social media to get more clients." And you're like, "This is not the point of this at all. Like, you need to teach people, and you need to educate them, and go with what they have. You can't just force it in order to market yourself better. That's ridiculous."
Yeah, because it's coaching. You're helping someone understand how it works. If they like you demonstrating, oh, this is how you should do it. Maybe do this week, and whatever. If they want to keep you for a prolonged period of time, happy days. But then if it comes down to let them go, you got to be okay with that.
Yeah.
You've done your job. You've done your job. Then, like you say, go on, carry on.
And you can't make it work with everybody. It's a relationship, and some people you're just not gonna click with, and that's it. It's life. It happens, and it doesn't even suck, because if you like everyone, I think you have an issue. Like, I don't like everyone at all. Sometimes it's more bearable because you work with them, so you don't get to see all the parts of them that you wouldn't want to see. But sometimes you just feel like it's not meant to be, and sometimes you just have to say it. You just have to call it and be like, okay, you know what, this is not working. And it's not because you are a bad coach, it's just because some people just don't fit you and how you do things, and that happens. Like, it's life. And I think most people are just so into this for the money that they just don't want to accept that. They're just like, oh, this is going to work for sure. And you're like, it's not working. Clearly everybody's telling you it's not working, but you just keep pushing because you think it's going to work. And it's ridiculous. Yeah. I think at some point you just have to really do an introspection and be like, okay, maybe it's not working because the way I do it is wrong. And I think it comes down to a lot of people that have huge ego. Like, they're driven by money and they want it to work so hard that they're incapable of actually reflecting on how they do things. Anything you're going to do is not going to work the same with people. Like, I have 5 clients, all 5 of them work differently. And I have to some of them are like machines. Like, I give them that and they just do it in the gym. They contact me in their check-in on video, and that's it. That's the only time during the week I hear from them. Some of them, they come back to me every day to tell me how they feel, to give to seek advice. And I'm like, if you are going to complain because your clients ask you too many things, you are not meant for that job at all.
100%.
Because this is how you're going to spend most of your day. If you have a full-time roster, most of the day you're just going to have questions from your clients, like, how am I supposed to do this? I have a question about that. And this is your job to answer and teach them and show them that you're there to support them. Like, when this coronavirus shit happened, I sent out an email to all my clients with my WhatsApp private number and telling them, if you want to reach out to me because you have an issue with something, or you don't understand, or we need to switch an exercise for another, feel free to do so, because that's what I'm here for, and I'm happy to help. If you're not willing to do that, I'm just not sure coaching is for you,
And both of those types of clients are great. You love to have that person in your back pocket all the time, because it's just constant feel good factor all the time. Then, but you also like the guy that just shuts up and does what he wants to do for a whole week, and checks back in with you a week later, because it's one less stressor in your life. There's so much to this whole coaching thing. It's a rather marvelous thing, I got to say.
Yeah. I'm curious. Did you see a difference in the nutrition approaches between men and women? Macros, perhaps, something?
To be honest, right now, with the people I'm working with, it's pretty much the same. Well, obviously, that's not having the same amount of calories. I would say the biggest thing is female lack protein, and their struggle getting their protein in.
For
sure.
Yeah, that's fairly common. Like, I have a client, she's meant to be on 150 to 170 protein, and she struggles to get 120. And it's a hassle. Every week I'm like, you have to increase that. So I'm trying to find solutions, and I tell them before going to bed, just have like a protein shake, just have like a side of like yogurt, or like have extra ham in your omelette, or just find some ways to make it work, but you have to increase your protein. And then I try to teach them. I found that this works better. I try to teach them why we need protein, and that usually does the trick. They're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna build or retain my muscle as much as if I was on that much protein," and that usually does the trick perfectly fine. They're like, "Oh, maybe I do need to increase my protein for this purpose," and I'm like, "Yeah, you do."
It's that initial explanation of muscle protein synthesis.
Yep.
It's like it's almost eye-opening for most of them. It's like, you what? I can make muscle more in one day, and then you kind of, the way I approach it is kind of, if you add that extra once a day, that's 7 a week, that's 28 a month. You got another You got another couple of weeks of muscle building in a whole year. Think of it like that, and then the penny drops.
Yeah.
And they get on it straight away.
Yeah. That usually does the trick, but I would say that's the main difference. Besides the fact that obviously, some of them are like, guys are bigger and they can handle more calories in general, but
I realized it's super hard to get the women to eat more protein. I told my girlfriend, like, you should eat like 100 grams of protein, and she's like these skyr, these yogurts. She's like, yeah, I ate like a skyr extra today. I'm like, yeah, it's like 15 grams of protein extra, it's like 60 grams of protein a day. It's like almost a hustle to get them to like, I always give them like protein powder or some whey protein, otherwise no chance.
I tried with my mom. My mom is like, she has this contradictory mind, like she needs to like counter everything you say for some reason, and I've been telling her, you need to increase your protein, you need to eat protein, and she's like, no, because protein is going to damage my liver and it's going to give me cancer. And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, you need the protein, woman, just fucking eat it. And she's like, I don't want to. And she's like, I don't even like protein that much. And I'm like, you eat yogurt fucking 5 times a day. I'm like, no, you don't eat protein. Like, it's so hard. She's into like organic shit, and I'm like, Mom, it doesn't make a difference if you pay €3 for a fucking tomato, or if you pay like €1 for it. Like, literally, it doesn't make no difference. And it's so frustrating. And I'm trying to teach her, so I'm going her way, and I think it teaches me a lot, because I have to be patient with her, and I think you have to be patient with a lot of people. So it's a good, like, it's a teachable moment when I talk with my mom about that. But some people are just so strong-minded about that. They're like, no, I don't want to eat more protein because it's going to make me sick. And I'm like, that's opposite.
True. I wanted to ask you as well, like, something interesting. I saw on your Instagram story, you were reading books recently. I don't know if you read them because I recommended one or two, or if you also got recommended by some other people. I saw you read one of my most favorite books, like, of all time, Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, and also some.
Look at that.
Oh, damn! It's already prepared. It's already prepared. I have another one here. Actually, I have like somewhere here. It's like the.
Full disclosure, I haven't started it yet. This is next on my list. Yeah, because I'm reading Ryan Holiday right now, and I have Stillness is the Key to read next. But Frankl is the one after that for sure, because I'm really interested in that. I think it really draws me. No, that's not how you say this. Yeah, well, I'm really drawn into this because I visited Auschwitz twice. So any book that relates to like the Holocaust or things like that, I feel like I can relate to the time I went to Auschwitz for some reason, which is super sad. But if you're in Europe and you need like an eye-opening moment, just go to Auschwitz. It is so worth it. It was the most like mind-blowing experience like in my entire life. I could not recommend it enough. It's super dark. You can feel the heavy atmosphere, but what you get out of it, I think it's just something you have to experience once to like actually know what it feels like. It's something like it's hard to explain. But anyway, it all started with James Walsham.
Sorry, what?
James Walsham. He's been telling me you have to read Ryan Holiday. You have to read his books. Like, he's amazing. And then I have another friend who told me like, you need to read this right now. So I ordered the book the same day, and it got in the mail. And it was The Obstacle is the Way from Ryan Holiday. And I just went through it in like 3 days. And then I did Ego is the Enemy. It's like one of those life-changing experience books. Like the perspective that you have, and it was super fast. And I told Steven my check-in the other day, it had an impact on me that I didn't think it would have. And it feels amazing. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So just Morgan, so you're talking about Stoic books, like the philosophy of the Stoics, and I feel like it ties in perfectly into bodybuilding as well, especially also Viktor Frankl, because you need to suffer so much to get on stage. But the basic tenet of the book is actually the obstacle is the way. So every obstacle that comes into your way, you can ask yourself two questions: do I become bitter? So do I retract in victimhood? So what most people do right now, coronavirus, I cannot travel, that's shit. Or do you become better? So either bitter or better. And Stoicism about the philosophy of always an obstacle comes your way, you decide to become better, and they kind of give you the tools how to do it and how to be more resilient. Like another book, actually, you guys can also check out, is by Nassim Taleb.
I want to read Taleb so much.
Anti-Fragile. That's one of the best books also I've ever read.
I really want to read it. I've been overwhelmed with the amount of books that I need to read right now. Not need to, but want to. That I'm like, okay, I need to I spend like an hour and a half a day at night just reading. And I do, it's funny. I've never been into audiobooks because I usually like to actually read a book. But because I'm going on my walk every day, now that's the only thing I can do when I get out of the house. And I've been into audiobooks, and it's so practical. So what I do is I listen to the book, and then I read the book just to get a second, and I feel like it's better that way. And I can actually take notes, and it's been a mind-blowing experience. Honestly, I could not recommend it enough. I wish someone would have forced me earlier to read them or really push for it.
It's just a little bit trippy because they have perhaps 20 or 30 years of life experience in one area, and you can buy that experience in the book for 10 or 15 bucks, or you can listen to it while walking. It's mind-blowing.
I know. I think
sorry?
No, go for it.
No, I tell all my clients, I tell, hey, if you go for a walk outside, just listen to an audiobook. That's the best.
I think it's a great way to combine something that's really therapeutic for me, like walking outside. Is just some days I'll meditate in my house, but some day I just go for a walk, and I find that it has the same virtues as meditating at home. I just go on my walk, and I just put my audiobook on, and it feels so good that some days I drag my feet getting out of the house because I'm like, oh, I don't want to go. And then I start walking, and I'm like, fuck, I remember why I love doing that walk at night. It's really meditative, I think. I really like it.
The next step you could do actually is pretty funny. I told Steve about it, but I think it's a little bit difficult for bodybuilder to do it. Maybe you guys have heard of a Vipassana retreat, Vipassana meditation.
Nope, but you're gonna enlighten me.
It's a best. It's where I learned meditation. It's a course. You go there for 12 days, 11 and a half, and they live on donations, so you don't even need to pay them if you don't want to. You go there, and for 10 days you're not allowed to talk to anyone and to look anyone in the eyes. No reading, no phone, no TV, nothing. You're just there meditating for around 5 to 10, I would say 10 hours a day, and they're just sleeping 7 hours a day with 3 meals. You're just there like a monk. You live like a monk. You do this once in your lifetime, and you will never need another meditation app in your life, because you're just so with your own thoughts, because it's difficult to be alone. Sometimes when I'm alone, I look at my phone. I just want to escape myself. This voice. And there you're alone with your voice for 10 days. In the beginning, I just wanted to be unconscious. I just wanted to sleep. I just wanted to escape, but you have no way to escape. And you can do it even for free. Right now it's closed because of Corona, but if you can take 12 days out of your training routine, it's the hardest deload you will ever do.
Oh, so there's no gym?
No, you're allowed.
I'm not going, bro. What about gains?
What about the gains, man?
I would say the problem, you lose some gains, that's the problem. But they teach you a meditation technique where you are scanning your whole body for 1 hour. You scan your body, And your body awareness is so good. Literally, when I was training the next day when I came out, I never had my mind-muscle connection that good because you can literally focus on your elbow and you can feel what you feel on your elbow. That's such a mind state. But then you lose it again if you don't meditate. But it's such a mind-blowing experience.
See, it's one of those things I would love to do, but I think I'm so scared of being alone with my own thoughts.
Yeah.
It's a very scary prospect, for sure.
Yeah, it's a hard introspection. Like, 'cause I've been practicing for like a few months now, like just regular meditation. And some days I find it so hard to like connect with myself without being overwhelmed by like more thoughts, I think.
Yeah.
It's a learning experience anyway. I think you learn so much through. It doesn't have to be meditation. Like, you don't have to like sit down in your room, whatever. Like, you can practice it anywhere. But
Even
I think having
prep is a way to practice it, right? Prep is hardcore.
Yeah. I think you have to have. I like to have that like alone time during the day. Like, usually when I get on my walk, just to be by myself and with my thoughts and just evaluate what I do. I think it's a good way.
Yeah, it ties in very well to bodybuilding as well, with it being such a delayed gratificational sport. Having that capacity to just understand this, this takes time. Because when I know for me personally, when I am alone with myself and my thoughts, I start questioning everything I do, everything. And to have the ability to take yourself away from that, I imagine is quite powerful when it just takes repetitive action over and over and over again.
I have a weird perspective shift for you, because I believe the thoughts we have on a daily basis, almost everyone has the same thoughts. Like it's either fear or like the emotions we feel on a daily basis are pretty similar. So who says that even your thoughts? They're just like thoughts. Who says it's your mind?
Now. This is too deep, man. This is too deep.
That's how I can detach from my fears pretty good. I'm like, it's not my fault. They're just like thoughts. It's like
sober. This is way too deep.
It's like it's like when you touch this cup, you feel how you touch it. So maybe your thoughts are also just like a type of sensation. You're not identified with the touching of the cup. So why should you be identified with your thoughts? But anyway, it's a deep.
Charles, remember me to never take drugs with you.
I know I'm high on life all the time, dude.
I would love to do like LSD with Charles. Like, that would be such a good experience. Like,
there we go. Next podcast, let's all get a few grams in. Yeah.
But, dude, that would be so dope. Like, so funny. I'm down for that.
Oh yeah, I reckon there's a niche for that in the podcast market.
Right?
Doing that yet?
Yeah. I'm down. I'm totally down. I love things like that. Sometimes there's a lot of
bodybuilders and acid.
Oh yeah.
It'd be so amazing.
Awesome.
Next time on the Quarantine Chronicles.
I have a gym that would be dope, actually. Is it legal to train 3 people in the same gym? Or I don't think so, right?
I don't think so.
Legal 3 people? No.
Let's give it a go.
Let's give it a go. Perfect. So Morgan, you said you need to bounce in like 2 minutes, right?
I do. I'm sorry, guys, but I've loved the conversation. It's been fantastic. I've got to say. I'd lovely to finally speak to you, Jess, albeit
me too.
Cybernetically.
Morgan, if you want, just stay for the last 2 minutes. You can wrap it up right now, if you can.
Yeah.
Just okay, good. Jess, where can people find you? I will plug your Instagram down below, of course.
Instagram, that's the easiest way. That's literally the only platform that I use, because my Facebook is just for my clients to do like their videos, their form videos on. I don't really use it that much, so yeah, Instagram all the way. And
you're gonna start to vlog your diet, you said?
I wanted to start vlogging because it was supposed to be prep, but now that I'm starting at home with like the equipment that I have, and I'm gonna experiment with the weighted vest. I think I'm not gonna be like it's not gonna be like a vlog a week or something, but I feel like a vlog a month just to explain what I'm doing home and the experiment with the weighted vest and everything. That would be pretty cool.
That'd be very interesting,
Yeah, just keeping it short and concise, just like being myself as much as I can.
I tell you, if you get good feedback on that one, you will be hooked. You will do one a week, for sure.
Yeah, probably.
Will be good.
I don't want to be too much in it, because I feel like it's very you know, like it's like you're filming yourself and it's all about yourself. And I don't know if I like that much. Like, just if it can help people, like I want them to be as informative and educational as I can. You know, still being my like putting my personal touch in it and be myself and be like very raw and very honest. But yeah, just not too much of like about like me, myself, and I type of shit.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But
well,
yeah,
it'll be helping me out for sure. So
sorry,
I'd love to watch it.
Go on. What do you mean? Sorry.
With regards to helping people out and not having it all about you, I'd be very interested. So if it is something you're considering, count me in.
For sure. Yeah, thank you so much for your time, Jess. I really appreciate all.
Thank you guys for having me.
No worries.
No problem.
I'm gonna look forward to your vlogs then, to your log on the member side. So if people are watching also, check out the Revive Stronger member side. I will put the link down below. Very insightful training logs, especially from a lot of athletes. Like they go into detail there. That's awesome. So yeah, thank you guys. And Morgan, I see you next time.
Thank you both.
Cheers.
Cheers.
See you guys.